Google, I think we all know, has a huge market share in various parts of ad tech, buy side, sell side, et cetera. It really grew over a 15-year period from the acquisition of DoubleClick, where I was a executive and I was part of the acquisition and went to Google afterwards. And it culminated in antitrust charges at the state level, federal level, European, Canadian. Around this time last year, the trial started in Virginia, the first of the trials. And I went down there, and I'm in sort of my second life after selling beeswax, and I'm, pretend I'm a journalist. And so I went down to the courthouse and I listened to 2 weeks of proceedings. I took notes. I wrote a daily newsletter called the Monopoly Report. And I was sitting there in the pews, no electronics. So I was just fully analog. And I just felt like it was a story. It was like not a in-depth tech analyst, like here's how market share is going to change. I thought it was a people story about people struggling with the way technology had changed advertising and the resulting sort of lopsided balance in competition that resulted. What the publisher ideally would want, and what an economist would want if they were looking at this market, is a single auction where all the demand comes in and the highest price wins, right? And really that did not exist for a long time. And the reason was because to start stage one, there was the premium stuff sold by your publisher sales force, and then there was everything else, right? And those no auction. Then dynamic allocation happens and they start overlapping a little bit, but first of all, it's only Google's exchange that gets to compete with the direct, and then everyone else is offline, not even doing an auction. Then header bidding happens, and header bidding allows everyone else to compete with everything, but there's still two auctions. There's Google AdX and everyone else through header, right? Yeah. And then finally, in the 2016 era, Google gives in. And they said, fine, we'll have a unified auction. They launch open bidding, and they also get rid of their advantages. They turn off a lot of their last look advantage. And finally, we have almost a unified auction. DOJ is trying to be a little too smart, a little tricky with its remedies, with the staged release, with different pieces. I think they should rip the Band-Aid off and spin out AdX plus GAM as a single entity right away. And you can, because the main source of the monopoly is the tie with AdWords, not the tie between those two. Having those two tied together is actually pretty beneficial for publishers.
I agree with that,
Right? You could do like frequency capping, you could have price tiers across the two, and things like that. I don't think that the Department of Justice should be that concerned about the well-being of other competitive exchanges, the Magnites, PubMatics, et cetera, of the world. I think they should be concerned with the well-being of publishers and advertisers, the principals in the transaction. And I think that the piecemeal is probably more potentially destructive of value for those entities than just getting the whole thing out. DoubleClick standalone would have been a rocket ship, I think. They still would have bought like Invite Media, another DSP, and the exchange plus the ad server would have been a really compelling thing. And they probably still would have been the subject of acquisitions, but you probably add another zero to the price tag.